Lena had always dreamed of visiting Paris. She had spent years admiring photos of the Eiffel Tower, the sparkling Seine River, and the narrow streets lined with charming cafes. On her 21st birthday, she finally boarded a plane and made her dream come true. When she arrived, Paris was even more magical than she had imagined. She stayed in a small hotel in Montmartre, where artists painted in the open air and music floated down the streets. Every morning, she would walk to a nearby bakery to buy a fresh croissant and a cup of strong coffee. On her second day, she visited the Eiffel Tower. As she stood underneath it, looking up at the iron masterpiece, she felt a wave of happiness rush over her. She took the elevator to the top and saw the entire city stretch out before her. Golden rooftops, green parks, and the river winding like a ribbon. In the evenings, Lena wandered through the Latin Quarter, listened to street musicians, and sat at outdoor cafes, writing in her journal. She visited the Louvre, where she gazed at the Mona Lisa and masterpieces from centuries past. She even made friends with a kind Parisian woman named Amélie, who showed her hidden spots of the city that tourists often missed. Paris changed Lena. It gave her a sense of wonder, a love for beauty, and a belief that dreams really could come true. As her trip came to an end, she promised herself she would return. Paris wasn't just a place she visited, it had become a part of her heart. On her last night in Paris, Lena decided to take a boat ride along the Seine. The city lights reflected on the water, and famous landmarks like Notre Dame and the Louvre seemed to glow in the dark. It felt like a dream she never wanted to wake up from. As the boat gently moved along the river, Lena thought about everything she had experienced, the art, the people, the food, and the feeling of endless discovery. She realized that Paris had taught her something important. The world was full of beauty, and sometimes all it took was courage to find it. Before she left, Lena bought a small silver necklace shaped like the Eiffel Tower. She promised herself that every time she wore it, she would remember to chase her dreams, no matter where they led. At the airport, as she boarded her plane back home, she smiled. This was not the end of her journey, it was just the beginning. Paris had given her more than memories. It had given her inspiration for a lifetime. Back home, Lena couldn't stop thinking about Paris. Every evening she would sit by her window, open her journal, and reread the notes she had written in the little cafes along the Seine. The memories were alive in her mind, the smell of fresh bread, the sound of distant accordion music, the feeling of the cool Parisian air on her face. Inspired by her trip, Lena decided to study French more seriously. She enrolled in language classes, bought French novels, and even decorated her room with paintings of Paris streets and the Eiffel Tower. Her friends noticed a change in her. She was more confident, more passionate, and full of dreams. Months later, an opportunity came. An international company was looking for someone who spoke French to work in Paris. Without hesitation, Lena applied. She remembered the promise she had made to herself to chase her dreams, no matter where they led. After interviews and paperwork, she received the news she had been hoping for. She was hired. When Lena returned to Paris, it wasn't just as a visitor. This time, it was as someone who belonged there. She found a small apartment in a lively neighborhood close to bakeries and bookstores. Every morning she walked to work, greeting familiar faces along the way. Lena's life in Paris was not always perfect. There were challenges and homesickness, but she embraced every part of it. Each day brought new adventures, and each night she would look out her window at the city lights, feeling grateful for the journey that had begun with a simple dream. Paris was no longer just a place in her heart, it was her home.